In 1932, Henry Knowles Beecher graduated from Harvard Medical School. 2 of his professional journal articles won prizes and caught the attention of Harvard professor of surgery, Dr. Edward Churchill, who became his professional mentor. In 1935, Dr. Beecher went to Denmark to work in the physiology laboratory of Nobel laureate August Krogh. In 1936, he came back and was hired as anesthetist-in-chief at Massachusetts General Hospital and became an instructor in anesthesia at Harvard Medical School. And in 1941, he was appointed as Harvard's Henry Isaiah Dorr Professor of Anesthesia Research, the very first endowed chair in anesthesiology in America. So at this point, I think we can all agree that Dr. Henry Knowles Beecher knew plenty. He was a star in the field of pain and anesthesia, that is to say, painkillers. And then an amazing thing happened. Dr. Beecher left Massachusetts General and Harvard and went to serve as a doctor for the U.S. Army in World War II, serving both in North Africa and in Italy. At one point, he was present at the Battle of Anzio, the famous and bloody Italian beachhead that started an almost 5-month-long moving battlefield, moving from the beaches of Anzio onto Rome, a battle wherein the Allied casualty powers suffered 43,000 casualties. And through it all, the renowned Dr. Beecher helped treat our wounded soldiers. Time and again, Dr. Beecher would approach a soldier wounded by gunfire, wounded in ways that were exactly the same as the way he treated so many times in the emergency rooms and hospitals back home. And Dr. Beecher was stunned by the fact, listen closely now, Dr. Beecher was stunned by the fact that when he asked the wounded soldier, do you want morphine? Do you want this painkiller? 75% would say, no, I don't need it. Give it to somebody else who needs it more than me. Time and again, he would approach a soldier who had suffered a severity of the wounds that were just as great as any civilian circumstances, but the intensity of the pain felt by the soldier was far less. Through much study, the renowned Dr. Beecher came to understand why. It all came down to the soldier's narrative. When the soldier was wounded in battle, the narrative running through his mind went something like this: I lived. I survived. I earned a medal, and I get to go home. I will see my wife and my children and my family. There will be honor and glory. I'll receive extra pay, retirement. The soldier's narrative in the midst of the wounds was a narrative all about good things. And that made all the difference to how the soldier thought of his pain, how he interpreted his pain, bottom line, why he felt less pain. In contrast, Dr. Beecher saw that when a civilian was wounded in life, the narrative running through his mind was entirely different and went something like this: I might die. I can't work, so how will I pay my normal bills? In fact, how will I pay my medical bills? What will happen to my job and my family? Oh no, what do I do now? In contrast to the wounded soldier, the civilian's narrative was all about bad things. And that made all the difference to what he thought of his pain, how he interpreted his pain, why he felt more pain. Here's another way to understand this from our own personal experience. Who hasn't seen this in real life? A scenario we've seen countless times with our own eyes. A little toddler falls down and hurts himself, non-life-threatening. If mommy gets a horrified look on her face and rushes over, all shook up, when the little guy sees her react that way, of course he's going to get upset too and freak out too, start to scream. But if mommy puts on a happy face and calmly walks over and scoops him up with a smile and a kiss, takes his mind off the pain, he too does not get majorly upset, might even laugh at himself. Mommy's reaction, the narrative her words and actions give to that toddler, defines what the toddler thinks about it and how he interprets what happened, how he feels about what happened. If mommy panics, so does the toddler. If mommy is calm, so too is the toddler. The thinking, interpreting, feeling that the brilliant and renowned Dr. Beecher saw with his own eyes in the most harsh of possible circumstances, both in the ER at Massachusetts General and on the beaches of Anzio, and what we see in the fallen toddler, both examples teach us all we need to know about the fact that how we think and interpret events in our lives, the narrative we give to them, defines how we feel about them. Just ask any martyr. It makes all the difference about whether we live our lives in heavenly peace and joy, or whether we live our lives in the hell of intolerable pain and suffering.